We're going to take a look at the '09 Classic. I think this year it's important to really break down this all-weather track at Santa Anita. Last year, the same track, the results ended up turf horse, Pauly. 1, 2, 3. So the world's top-rated thoroughbred Curlin didn't hit the board running on that surface. So I think it's interesting, and I think that it really is going to play a major factor in my handicapping this year. So it's important to at least kind of isolate the horses that have shown an affinity for that surface, and ultimately the goal is a nice pick six ticket for the Breeders' Cup. And if you can isolate yourself down in the Classic in the last leg, you can go deep early, and that's what we're going to try to do. Starting off with a handful of horses we're going to look at today. Awesome Gem is a horse that has shown the ability to run on multiple tracks, including the all-weather surface. He's also shown the ability to be very successful at in this against this class of horse. So if based on his last race, he may be coming back into a form that can make him competitive in the Classic. Bulls Bay is a horse that has 9 all-weather starts and has been in the money 6 times, out of a 2-time Breeders' Cup Classic winner, Tisnow. Colonel John is a horse that has been on the all-weather surface 10 times and has been in the money 70% of the time. His last race at the track, he looked like he was going to make a run up the rail and was kind of boxed in and still ran respectable, beaten only a couple of lengths. My sentimental favorite, Einstein, has the ability to run on any surface, and he's proven that. He's been in California for his last few races and has a victory and a second. I thought he was a winner in his last out and was nailed at the wire by a horse that's looking pretty interesting to me. Okay, that brings us to Gio Ponte, who has 2 races over the track. One of my favorite big race trainers, Christophe Clement, has Gio Ponte, and depending upon what race they send him in, I think he'll be competitive anywhere he runs. If it's the Classic, you got to look out for him. Gitano Hernando, this is the horse that beat Einstein, caught Einstein at a pretty good price last time out. This is a French-bred turf specialist who is 1-for-1 over the all-weather track at Santa Anita. The interesting thing about this horse is he's probably 3rd or 4th, 5th best horse from Europe. He was beaten pretty soundly by some of the champions there this past year and came here and beat our top stakes horses. So I don't know if that's going to show what's going to happen when the Euros come over again, but I think that French bred is going to be on my ticket somewhere. I mean, he's going to be dangerous. Macho again is a horse that loves to come off the pace. I think there will be a good pace this year, and we'll talk about that a little later. But first time over this type of surface is scary to me. I didn't like his last start. He's had a very long and arduous campaign this year. So Macho again's fallen off my radar a little bit. Master Craftsman's a horse that has never been over the all-weather surface. Mind the Bird is very interesting to me because early in his career at Woodbine, he was a all-weather specialist. He has 6 races on the all-weather surface with 4 victories. He likes to come off the pace, and while he hasn't won since the Derby, he has been very competitive in all of his races, hitting the board in all of them, and being pretty low odds. But Mind the Bird is going to be an interesting horse. If he's coming into this race right, I think the pace is going to be there for him. He could be dangerous. Quality Road is, I think, one of the top 3-year-olds in the country. There's really no debating that. He's just rounding himself back into form, and he's the speed factor in this race. And, if Quality Road's able to go out there and have a legitimate pace with another horse we're going to talk about in a minute, I think it's going to be tough for him to win on his first race on an all-weather surface. And he did have somewhat of a light campaign this summer and fall, while he was very busy in the spring. This 3-year-old out of Elusive Quality is a question mark to me, but I like him for the pace. So while I'm not going to have him on top of my ticket, he's a key factor in this Classic. We want him to be sharp, keen, and we want him to run fast early. It's very important for the horses to set this race up. Rail Trip out of Jump Start. Here's a very interesting horse. 9 starts on all-weather surface, 6 victories, 2 seconds, and a third. Um, and I think that he's 3 for 3 at Santa Anita. So Rail Trip is, he doesn't have the speed figures, but he's got the victories, and it seems like he's got the class. So very interesting horse. He's going to be a good price. Regal Ransom is the other speed factor in this race. We want Regal Ransom and Quality Road really to be competing against each other early to set up a legitimate pace for the closers in this race. The Mind the Birds and some of the other horses that we're going to be looking at. Gitano Hernando is going to be closing, Gio Ponte, etc. Regal Ransom, Ofer, never been on the all-weather surface. He's got a lot of early speed, out of distorted humor. So Regal Ransom is going to be interesting. If you watch the show, you know that I liked him for the Derby based on the pace scenario. But in this race, I'm hoping Regal Ransom and Quality Road really duel it out the first mile or so and set it up for the closers. Richard's Kid. This is a Bob Baffert horse who was his second tier horse in his last stakes victory, but was able to come through with the victory on the outside for Bob Baffert. This horse has 2 races on the all-weather surface with a victory. So you always got to be, looking out for Baffert, and he's at his home track. So interesting. Summer Bird's going to be getting a lot of play. I think that he's obviously, the further they've gone, the better he's been. He's got the sire that has been very successful this year with Birdstone. This is a champion horse. I'm thinking he's a dirt horse, but you don't know. So, I mean, he's going to be a question mark. He almost kind of reminds me of the Curlin last year, coming off of an outstanding campaign this year. One of the toughest horses in the country, maybe the world, and I'm talking on dirt. So bringing him to the all-weather track is a real big question mark for me. I'm hoping to beat the horse, and I'm hoping that he's one of the favorites. And that leaves you to Zenyatta. Zenyatta is 11 for 11 on all-weather, 3 for 3 at Oak Tree, Santa Anita. And this 5-year-old mare is just so dominating on these all-weather track. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. And another key factor for her is the fact that she's getting 3 pounds in the Classic. So Zenyatta is going to be a huge favorite in the race, I believe, if she runs. But I think it's, if we get Regal Ransom, if we get Quality Road, I think Zenyatta is going to have that legitimate pace to gobble them up down the middle of the track. 11 for 11 on the all-weather track. Now, she's never raced against the boys, so we don't know. And her times are, they're good, but she does what she needs to do to win. She's not a horse that wins by 10 lengths. She does her best running in the stretch. She's never been a mile and a quarter, I don't believe, but I think she'll love the distance. So for me, the Street Cry mare, Zenyatta, looks to be the dominating horse on that on that surface. Mind the Bird's interesting. Gaetano Hernando, Einstein, and and Colonel John's been pretty good on that track. So we'll see how it goes. But to start off, the first show for the Breeders' Cup, I just wanted to start off by looking at what horses have an affinity for the all-weather surface and who we're going to be looking at the race. As we get closer to the race and this field gets a little narrowed down, we'll start breaking each horse down individually. But for now, the way it looks to me, Zenyatta late down the middle of the track. That's not some great handicapping, but it is what it is. The goal for the Breeders' Cup is the pick 6. So let's isolate ourselves a winner in the Classic. Let's get 3 pounds from Zenyatta, 11 for 11 on the all-weather track, 3 for 3 at Santa Anita. That's how I see it so far. Good luck. If you want to leave your comments, please do. We can set up a little bit of a dialogue and hopefully help each other get to the winner's circle here for the Breeders' Cup.